5 years after a night with a black woman, Millionaire finds triplets who look just like him. Could they be his? Subscribe and tell us where you're watching us from today. The world felt like it stopped when Julian saw them. Three small kids were playing near a fountain in Central Park. Their eyes looked just like his. Even the tiny amber, gold-brown sparkle in their eyes was the same. People always said his eyes were special. He stood still, not even drinking his coffee, just staring. The children were laughing and running. They looked about 4 or 5 years old. Their curly dark hair shone in the sunlight. Their smiles were all the same, and they made Julian's heart beat faster. It wasn't just their eyes. On their right wrists, each child had the same crescent-shaped, moon-like birthmark that Julian had. His grandmother once told him it was a special moon blessing that showed up in their family sometimes. But these kids couldn't be his. Could they? He would know if he had children, right? Then Julian saw a woman with them. She was tall and beautiful, with skin like shiny dark chocolate. And suddenly, he remembered something from 5 years ago. One night. One special night. He had met a lovely woman in another city when he was there for a work trip. They had agreed, no names, no phone numbers, no promises, just one wonderful night. Then they said goodbye and never saw each other again. Until now. Without even thinking, Julian's feet started walking closer. His heart was pounding so loud he felt like everyone could hear it. In the last 5 years, he had worked hard and become very rich, but he had also felt very lonely. And now this moment might change everything. "Excuse me," he said. His voice sounded strange. The woman turned around. Her eyes showed surprise, then shock, and then something else he couldn't understand. The kids stopped playing and looked at him. Their faces made his throat feel tight. "It's you," the woman said in a whisper. "I think we need to talk," Julian said. He looked at her, then at the children. "The ones who might be his," he pointed to their wrists. "The birthmarks, I have the same one." He pulled up his sleeve and showed her his own moon-shaped mark. "Please, are they?" "Mommy, who's that man?" asked the little girl. The woman took a deep breath and said, "He's an old friend of Mommy's. Why don't you three go play by the swings? But stay where I can see you." The children ran off, full of giggles and energy. They had no idea their world was about to change. "Their names are Saren, Jackson, and Lyrae," the woman said quietly. "And yes, they're yours." Julian felt dizzy. His whole body felt like it was floating. These were his children. He didn't even know they existed. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, his voice soft. "You're Julian Cross," she said. "The billionaire, the man on magazine covers. We agreed not to share names. By the time I found out I was pregnant, you were engaged to a famous actress. It was all over the news. I didn't want to ruin your life." "My engagement ended just weeks after we met," Julian said. "She only wanted fame. It wasn't real." He looked at the kids again. His kids, laughing by the swings. "You didn't ruin my life," he said. "You just kept me from knowing mine." The woman stood tall and strong. "My name is Isadora James. Now that you've found us, what do you want?" Julian had never been unsure before. He built his business by trusting his gut and making quick decisions. But now he felt unsure for the first time ever. "I want," he began, but stopped. He watched Jackson help his sister after she tripped. His heart felt full and sad at the same time. "I want to know them," he said, "if you'll let me." Isadora looked at him closely. "They've asked about their dad. I told them he was a good man who didn't know about them. I never lied." Julian felt a heavy feeling in his chest. He had missed their first steps, their first words, and all their birthdays. But now he also felt something new. Hope. "Can we start over?" he asked. "Not like before. I want to be in their lives. They're part of me." Isadora looked at the kids and then at him. This won't be easy. During his meeting, he kept remembering how she stood her ground. "Mr. Voss, your thoughts on the proposal?" his assistant asked. "I need more time to check the numbers," he said. "Let's talk about this tomorrow." That night, in his big fancy apartment with big windows, Julian couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the woman from the street. What was her name? Had she told him? Had he even asked? He walked to the window. The city lights sparkled below. Somewhere out there, she was probably going to bed, or maybe working her second job like she had said. For the first time in a long while, Julian felt bad about something. The next morning, he drove back to the same corner. He parked nicely this time and walked to her cart. Yara was there, her cart all set up again. The smell of cinnamon coffee filled the air. A line of people waited. When Julian got to the front, Yara looked at him and raised her eyebrows. "No coffee for people who almost run me over," she said, but her voice wasn't angry anymore. "I deserve that," he said honestly. "Yes, you do," she said, turning to help the next person. But Julian didn't leave. He waited until the line was gone. "I came to say sorry again," he told her. "Yesterday was all my fault. I was driving too fast and not paying attention." Yara looked at him closely. She was trying to understand why he had come back. Rich men like him didn't say sorry twice. They usually just moved on. "What's your name?" he asked. "Yara Carter." "I'm Julian Voss." "I know," she said with a little smile. "I saw your picture in the paper last month, something about a tech merger." He was surprised, she remembered. Most people didn't know who he was. "That still doesn't make what happened okay," he said. "I want to make it right." "I told you, I don't want your money." "Then what do you want?" She looked surprised by the question. After thinking for a moment, she said, "Nothing from you, but thank you for coming back. That means something." A customer came and she turned away to help them. Julian waited again. "Your coffee smells amazing," he said when she was free. "It's my grandma's recipe, Café de Ola." "Can I try some?" Yara paused, then nodded. $5. "That's a lot for street coffee," Julian joked. "We use good ingredients," she said. "And I don't cut corners." Julian gave her a $10 bill. "Keep the change." She poured him a cup. Their fingers touched, and he noticed her hands were rough, working hands. He took a sip and looked surprised. "This is incredible. My grandma would be happy to hear that," Yara said. She smiled a little. "She taught you to make it?" "She taught me everything. Baking, cooking, all of it." "This cart was her dream?" Yara nodded. "She passed away 5 years ago. She left me her recipes and just enough money for this cart. It's not a full cafe like she dreamed, but it's something." Julian wanted to know more about her grandma, about Yara, about her dreams. But just then his phone rang. "I have to take this," he said, stepping away. When he came back, she was helping another customer. "I have to go," he said when she was free. "But your coffee was truly amazing, truly amazing." "Thanks," she said, "and thanks for coming back. Not many people would." As Julian walked back to his car, he felt something strange. Something about Yara had stayed with him, her pride, her strength, the way she looked him in the eye. He hadn't felt this way about anyone in a long time. As he sat in his car, he knew one thing. He would be back tomorrow. What he didn't know was that this small moment, almost getting into an accident, sharing coffee and saying sorry, would change both of their lives forever. Because sometimes the biggest changes come on ordinary days. And sometimes people who change our stories forever don't come with loud noises or big events. They come with a simple cup of coffee made with love. For the next week, Julian came back to the corner every morning. He told himself it was just for the coffee, and it really was amazing, but deep down he knew it was more. "Back again?" Yara asked with a smile on Friday as she poured him his usual cup. "Best coffee in the city," he said, like that was all the reason he needed. Isadora stepped in. "Mr. Cross and I are going to talk about grown-up things. You three can go play. We'll watch you from here." The kids ran off again. Isadora sipped her coffee. "They're smart. They ask about their dad sometimes. I always said he was a good man who lived far away." "I want to be part of their lives," Julian said. "I'll go at your pace, but I want them to know me. I want to help them, school, doctors, anything they need." So Isadora put down her cup. I've taken care of them for 5 years. I know you have, Julian said gently, and you've done an amazing job. But they are my kids too. They deserve my help. Isadora looked at him closely. What are you trying to say? For now, Julian said, I just want to spend time with them. Maybe visit every week, if that's okay with you. I'd also like to make sure their future is safe. I want to help pay for their school and college, and I want to help you too. Can't. Maybe find a better home. I don't need that, Isadora said. It's not about need, Isadora. It's about what should have happened from the start. Isadora sighed and looked at the children playing. They have your strong chin and your eyes, she said. I thought about telling you when I found out I was pregnant, but then I saw the news that you were getting married. I thought your life was already set. It wasn't the right person, Julian said. We broke up before the triplets were even born. Triplets, Isadora said with a small smile. That still sounds strange. No one in my family ever had triplets. The doctor was shocked when he saw the ultrasound. My grandmother was a twin, Julian said. I guess it comes from my side of the family. They both looked at the kids who had found a ball pit and were jumping in with giggles. They're amazing, Julian said softly. They are, Isadora agreed. Then she looked at him seriously. I need to know that you're serious. They are not a game or something fun to do. They are little people, and their hearts can get hurt. If you come into their lives, you have to stay. Julian thought about his own childhood. His father had missed many school plays and baseball games because he was too busy with work. I understand, Julian said. I won't be like my dad. I want to be there for everything. Birthdays, school days, and even regular Tuesdays. What about your life? Isadora asked. The parties, the women, the travel? Kids need someone who stays. Julian looked at her. The news doesn't always tell the truth. I work hard, yes, and I travel, yes. But I'm not a wild guy like the magazines say. That sells stories. It's not who I really am. And knowing about the kids has changed everything for me, in a good way. Before Isadora could answer, Saren came running over, a little out of breath. Mommy, Jackson said I can't be a princess because princesses don't have brown skin. That's not true, right? Isadora picked up her daughter and sat her on her lap. Of course that's not true. Princesses can look any way at all. There was a princess from Ethiopia named Zodatu, Julian said. She ruled her whole country. She had beautiful brown skin just like yours. Saren's eyes got big. Really? Really? Julian said. She was brave and smart, like you. Saren smiled big and ran off. I'm going to tell Jackson. Isadora looked at Julian with surprise and respect. Most people don't know that kind of history. Julian shrugged. I travel a lot. I like learning about other places. They watched Saren tell her brother about Princess Zodatu, waving her hands with excitement. 1 visit a week, Isadora said at last. We take it slow, and we don't tell them who you really are until I feel it's the right time. Julian nodded, feeling happy inside. I'd like that very much. Over the next few weeks, Julian changed his schedule. Saturday mornings were only for the triplets. He moved meetings and skipped long trips. Nothing was more important than those special hours. He learned that Jackson loved dinosaurs. He could say all their hard names perfectly. Lyra was quiet but very smart with numbers and puzzles. Saren loved stories. She made up fun tales about people in the park or in restaurants. One day, they went to a children's museum. There was a space exhibit, and the kids loved it. Isadora helped Lyra put on a small astronaut suit. Can you lift me to see the stars, Mr. Alex? Jackson asked. Julian picked him up carefully. The boy leaned against him, and Julian felt warm and trusted. See that bright one? Julian pointed. That's Sirius, the dog star. It's the brightest one we can see from Earth. I want a dog, Jackson said suddenly. Mommy says maybe when we're older. Dogs need a lot of care, Julian said. He understood why Isadora hadn't gotten one yet. Her home was small, and she worked hard at the hospital. When I'm big, I'll have 3 dogs, Jackson said. One for me, one for Saren, and one for Lyra. That's a great plan, Julian said, smiling. Later, while the kids played with bubbles, Julian and Isadora sat on a bench. They asked about you all week, Isadora said. When is Mr. Alex coming again? What will we do with Mr. Alex? Julian felt happy hearing that. I think about them all the time. I even forget to focus at work. Does anyone else know about them? Just my lawyer, Julian said. I wanted to protect your privacy and theirs. My mom knows you're around, Isadora said. She's helped me since they were born. She's not sure about you yet. I'd like to meet her, Julian said. I want her to know I'm serious. Maybe next week, Isadora said. She watches them when I work nights. Isadora paused. I've been thinking about your offer. Julian had said he wanted to buy a bigger home for them, one with a yard, more rooms, and closer to the hospital. But Isadora was proud and didn't want to just take money. I still don't want to take your money, she said. But the kids do need more space and better schools. If you want to help with that, we can talk about what makes sense. Julian nodded. He knew this was hard for her. Thank you, he said kindly. Whatever you're okay with, I just want to help. Mom, look, Saren called out. She made a bubble as big as her head. She laughed loudly as it popped. They're getting attached to you, Isadora said softly. They're asking more about their dad. It might be time to tell them. Julian's heart beat faster. Are you sure? 5 years is not rushing, Isadora said with a small smile. Maybe next weekend, at the park, their favorite place. We'll keep it simple and happy. Julian nodded, a little nervous. What do I say? Tell them you're their dad, Isadora said. Tell them you didn't know about them, but now you do, and you want to be part of their lives. They might be confused or upset. Maybe a little, Isadora said. But kids are smart, they already like you. She touched his arm gently. You'll be okay. It was the first time she had touched him since they met again. Julian felt a jolt in his chest, like a spark from the past. Isadora, he started to say. He wasn't sure what words to use. Mommy, Mr. Alex, come see. Lyra called, stopping the moment. They walked toward the kids together. Julian wondered if Isadora ever thought about that one night they had shared, and what could have been if they had stayed in touch. But right now, what mattered most was becoming more than just Mr. Alex. He wanted to be Dad. A word that scared him, but also made him excited. The day they told the children was beautiful. The sun was out, and the air was cool. Leaves floated through the park. They found a quiet bench in a corner with space to run if the kids needed it. Isadora had dressed the triplets in matching clothes in different shades of blue, their favorite color. They sat on the bench, waiting, with big eyes full of curiosity. Kids, Isadora began, sitting beside them. Remember when we talked about your dad? I said he's a good man who didn't know about you? 3 little heads nodded. Well, she said, sometimes life gives us good surprises. She looked at Julian. He knelt in front of them so they could see his face. What your mom means is, I'm your dad, he said. He showed them the crescent-shaped birthmark on his wrist. That's why we have the same mark and the same eyes. The kids were quiet, thinking hard. Jackson spoke first. Why didn't you know about us? Julian nodded. He expected that question. Your mom and I met a long time ago, before you were born. We didn't stay in touch. She didn't know how to find me. But then I saw you in the park. I saw our special mark. That's how I knew. So you're not just Mommy's friend? Saren asked, her eyebrows scrunched. I am her friend, Julian said. But I'm also your dad, Lyra asked. Do we have to call you Dad now? Julian looked at Isadora. She gave a small nod. You can call me whatever you want, he told Lyra. Mr. Alex, Dad, or something else. It's your choice. I want to try Dad, Jackson said proudly. Dad. He said the word like he was trying on new shoes. Can I think about it first? Lyra asked softly. Of course, Julian said. There's no rush. Saren was quiet. Then she asked, Are you going to live with us now? No, sweetie, Isadora said. Your dad will still live in his own house, but he wants to spend more time with you. And I want to help take care of you, Julian added. That's what dads do. Like Mateo's dad? Saren asked. He picks him up from school sometimes. Yes, like that, Isadora said. We're still figuring things out, but your dad and I both love you. We want the best for you. Can we go play now? Jackson asked, happy with the answer. Isadora laughed. Yes, go play, but stay where we can see you. The kids ran off toward the playground, their giggles filling the air. Julian sat on a bench next to Isadora. That went better than I thought, he said softly. They're still thinking about everything, Isadora said, watching the kids climb the jungle gym. Lyra might need more time. She's always careful. I'll wait, Julian said kindly. This is all new for everyone. They sat quietly together, watching the children play. After a while, Julian saw Isadora looking at him in a strange way. What is it? He asked. I was just thinking about fate or luck or something like that, she said. What were the chances you walked into that part of the park on that day? There are so many people in this city. Julian had thought about that too. Maybe a part of me was looking for something without knowing it, or maybe it's like my grandma used to say, blood calls to blood. Your grandma sounds interesting. She was, Julian said. She raised me after my parents died in a car crash when I was 12. He didn't talk about this often, but it felt okay to tell Isadora. She told me our birthmark was special. She called it a moon blessing. Isadora looked at the kids. All three of them have it. The doctor said it's not common for all triplets to have the same birthmark. Usually only one or two might have it. My grandma would say it means they're meant for something special, Dad, Julian said with a smile. They are special, Isadora said, not because of the mark or who their dad is, but because of who they are. Julian looked at Isadora with deep respect. You've done an amazing job with them, he said. I see that, and I respect it. She nodded. It hasn't been easy. 3 babies at once and just my nurse salary. There were hard times. I wish I had been there. I know, she said, but we're here now trying to figure it out. Just then, Jackson ran over, a little out of breath. Dad, come push me on the swing. The word dad felt like a gift in the air. Julian looked at Isadora and saw her gentle nod. I'm coming, buddy, he said, standing up. As he walked toward the swing, Jackson's little hand slipped into his, like they had always done this. For the first time, Julian felt like he might actually know how to be a dad, one push on the swing at a time. The house was perfect, a brown brick house with a small backyard, bedrooms for each child, and close to the hospital where Isadora worked. Julian found the house through a special listing so his name wouldn't show up and cause problems. It's too much, Isadora said when she saw it. It's not even close to enough, Julian replied. They made a deal. Julian would buy the house and put it in a trust for the children. Isadora would pay a small rent that would go into their college funds. This way, she could still feel independent, but the kids would benefit too. Today was moving day. Julian hired movers to carry the big things, but he was there too, sleeves rolled up, helping. Dad, look at my new room, Jackson called from upstairs. Every time one of the kids called him Dad, Julian felt a happy jump in his heart. Jackson started using it right away. Saren followed soon. Lyra used it sometimes, like she was trying it out. He went upstairs and found Jackson jumping on his new dinosaur bed. What do you think, buddy? Big enough for all your dinos? It's the best room ever, Jackson shouted, still jumping. Julian smiled. I'm glad, but remember what Mom said about jumping on beds? Jackson quickly sat down. Oops. Sorry. It's okay, Julian said. Want to help me check on your sisters? Saren was busy putting her dolls on a new shelf and talking to them about their new home. Lyra was slowly unpacking her books, arranging them by color. Need help? Julian asked. She looked up. Can you reach the top shelf? I want my special books up there. He stepped in and took the books she gave him. He saw they were all about math, counting, shapes, even patterns. You really like numbers, don't you? Lyra nodded. Numbers make sense. They always follow the rules. Julian smiled. I feel the same. When I was your age, I used to count everything: steps, cars, even windows. Lyra's eyes got big. Me too. It was a small moment, but very special to Julian. He felt a little closer to her. Downstairs, Isadora was helping the movers with calm and care. The kids are settling in, Julian told her. They're excited, Isadora said. They've never had their own rooms before. How about you? Are you excited? He asked. She looked around the big kitchen with its new appliances. It's going to take time to get used to. It's more than I ever thought I'd have. You all deserve it, Julian said. Thank you. Thank you, Isadora said, for the house, for being patient, for not rushing us. Julian had been careful since meeting the kids, letting things grow slowly. I'm just happy to be here, he said. Isadora's phone rang. It's the hospital. A nurse is sick. They want me to work the late shift. Go, Julian said. I'll take care of things. You sure? Isadora asked. You've never had all three alone before. It's time I learn, he said, trying to sound confident. I'll order dinner, help them unpack, and get them to bed. Isadora gave instructions. Pajamas are in the blue suitcases. Bedtime is 8:30. Lyra needs her yellow star blanket. Jackson will try to stay up. Don't let him. Saren has to brush her teeth twice, or she'll pretend. Julian nodded. Blue suitcase, 8:30. Star blanket, no tricks. Double brushing. Got it. I'll be back by midnight, Isadora said. Call me if you need anything. After she left, Julian got the kids into the living room. I'm in charge tonight, he told them. Can we have ice cream for dinner? Jackson asked. Julian laughed. Nice try. How about pizza? Then a little ice cream for dessert if you help unpack the important stuff. What's important stuff? Saren asked. Things you need for tonight. Pajamas, toothbrushes, favorite stuffed animals. The evening went well. They ate pizza on the floor with cushions and called it a picnic. Bedtime was harder. They were used to sleeping together and didn't want to be apart. How about this? Julian said. Tonight, we move all your mattresses into Jackson's room and have a sleeping party. The kids loved that idea. They made a nest of blankets and pillows. Julian read 2 stories, one about dinosaurs for Jackson and one about a princess engineer for the girls. As he sat by them, Saren asked sleepily, Dad, are you going to live here too? That surprised him. No, sweetie, I have my own place, but I'll be here a lot. Why can't you stay here? We have an extra room. Julian thought. Well, your mom and I are still getting to know each other again. We're friends. Grown-ups need space too. Like how I love Jackson and Lyra, but I still want my own room. Exactly, he said. She smiled and fell asleep. When Isadora came home around midnight, she found Julian in the kitchen putting dishes away. Everything okay? She asked. Better than okay, he said. They're all asleep in Jackson's room. We decided to try the separate room thing tomorrow. Good idea, she said. You didn't have to unpack all this. I wanted to help. I wasn't tired. How was work? He asked. The usual. Earaches, worried parents, one kid with a broken arm from skateboarding. They stood in the quiet kitchen, unsure what to say next. Thank you, Isadora said suddenly. For tonight, for everything. For not being mad I didn't tell you sooner. For giving us time. For not taking over. I wouldn't know how to take over, Julian said honestly. I'm still learning. Isadora smiled. Me too, even after 5 years. They finished unpacking dishes together. Julian kept looking at her. He had been so focused on the kids, he hadn't thought much about her. But tonight, in the quiet of the new house, he wondered, maybe one day, there could be a place for him here too. 3 months later, they had a routine. Julian spent Wednesdays and Saturdays with the kids and always came for Sunday dinner with the whole family. He changed his work schedule. He gave more jobs to his helpers at work. He even made a small office in the guest room at Isadora's house for the times when he had to work and could not wait. The children were growing well. Jackson joined a local soccer team, and Julian never missed one of his games. Saren found out she was good at painting. She covered the refrigerator with her colorful pictures. Lyra was doing really, really well in math at her new school. Even though she was in kindergarten, she was working with second grade numbers. But not everything was easy. One day, Julian came home and saw Isadora looking worried. Her hair was tied up messy, not neat like usual. "What's wrong?" he asked right away. "Parent-teacher conferences," she said with a tired sigh. "All three teachers want to meet me today, but I have to work a double shift because two nurses are sick with the flu." "I can go," Julian said. Isadora wasn't sure. "The school doesn't know you as a parent yet. We never did the paperwork." "Let's do it now," Julian said. "I want to be a real parent on their school papers. It's time." After 30 minutes and signing some papers, Julian was officially listed as the triplets' dad at their school. The secretary looked surprised at his last name, but didn't say anything. "I should have done this before," Isadora said as they walked to her car. "It felt like a big step." "It is a big step," Julian said, "but it is the right step. I want to be part of everything, even school." Isadora smiled. "You're right. It's good for the kids to see us working together." The meetings at school went well. Jackson's teacher said he was very excited about learning but needed to sit still during story time. Saren's teacher showed them stories Saren had told her, and she was very creative. Lyra's teacher said Lyra should try the gifted program because she was really good with numbers. "She gets that from you," Isadora said on the way back to the car. Julian felt proud. "Maybe, but she gets her carefulness from you, the way she double-checks everything." They had been getting closer over the months of working as parents together. "Can I take you to lunch?" Julian asked suddenly. "To celebrate our first parent-teacher conferences." Isadora checked her watch. "I don't have to work for 2 more hours." "That sounds nice." At a small cafe near the school, they talked about the children, the holidays coming up, and how to raise 3 busy 5-year-olds. But Julian felt there was something more between them, a feeling of hope. "Isadora," he said, putting down his coffee cup, "I've been thinking." "That sounds dangerous," she joked, but her eyes were serious. "I want to talk about us." She opened her mouth to speak, but he raised his hand. "Not to rush you or make you feel bad, but to tell you how I feel." Isadora was quiet and waited. "That night in Boston," Julian said, "was not just a random night for me. I have had other nights like that, but this one was different. I felt a connection with you that I never felt with anyone else. That's why I was so sad when you left the next morning." "I had an early flight," Isadora said softly, "and we said it was just one night." "I know, but I wanted to find you again. I just didn't know how." He looked at her. "And now, these months getting to know you as a mom and a person, my feelings have not gone away. They have gotten stronger." Isadora looked down at her plate. "I'm not asking for anything," Julian said quickly. "I respect your rules. I know the kids come first, and that should be my first too. But I want you to know this is not just about being parents together. When I think about the future, I see all 5 of us together." Isadora was quiet for a long time. "I can't say no. I thought about it too," she said at last. "The connection we had was real. I have never felt that way with anyone else. That's why I never really dated after the triplets were born. No one was like you." Julian's heart beat faster. "But it's hard now. We are not just two people who might try to be a couple. We are parents. If we tried and it didn't work, the kids would get hurt." Julian nodded. "I understand. It's a big risk." Isadora looked at him. "I need more time. I'm not saying no, just not yet. We are still learning how to be parents together. Let's get really good at that first." It wasn't the answer he wanted, but it was not a no. Julian nodded. He respected her feelings, but still hoped. "I can wait." Isadora smiled. "One step at a time. We have the parent-teacher conferences done now. Let's get through the holidays." As they left the restaurant, Julian felt lighter after telling her how he felt. When Isadora briefly held his hand before getting in her car, he knew they were moving forward together. The Christmas tree in the living room was almost touching the ceiling. It was covered with a mix of store-bought decorations and handmade ones from the kids. Julian stood back and smiled at their work while Isadora put presents under the tree. "I think we bought too many presents," she whispered, looking at the big pile of wrapped gifts. "It's our first Christmas together," Julian said. "Next year, we will do less." The words "next year" were like a promise of family traditions they would make together. The children had gone to bed many hours ago. They were too excited to sleep, but finally fell asleep, tired from the day. Tomorrow would be the first big holiday Julian spent with his children. He had moved into the guest room for the weekend because the children wanted him close. It felt strange, but also right. "Cocoa?" Isadora asked, holding out a mug. Julian took it happily and followed her to the kitchen, where they could talk quietly without waking the kids. "Your mother is coming tomorrow," Julian said. Isadora nodded. "She is excited to meet you properly." Julian felt a little nervous too. He had only talked to Marin Calloway, Isadora's mother, on the phone, never in person. Marin was the only living grandparent and very important to the triplets. "She will like you," Isadora said. "Once she sees how good you are with the kids, she will like you." They drank their hot cocoa in comfortable silence. The house was quiet and decorated with twinkling lights and paper snowflakes the children had cut out. "I got you something," Julian said suddenly, reaching into his pocket. He wanted to wait until tomorrow, but he wanted to give it to her now. Isadora looked surprised when she saw the small wrapped box. "You didn't have to," she said. "I wanted to," Julian said. Isadora carefully opened the box. Inside was a small velvet jewelry box. Inside that was a pretty silver necklace with 3 little moon-shaped pendants, one for each child. Julian said, I know you love your moon blessing trio." Isadora touched the pendants gently. "It's beautiful. Thank you." "May I?" Julian asked, holding out his hand for the necklace. Isadora lifted her hair, and Julian fastened the necklace around her neck. He noticed how close she was, the soft smell of her perfume, and the warmth of her skin under his fingers. When she turned back to him, the little moons hung just below her collarbone and shone in the light. "Perfect," he said quietly. Their eyes stayed on each other for a long moment. Julian felt himself lean in a little, pulled toward her as he had been from the start. Suddenly, a small sound came from the hallway. They both turned to see Saren standing there holding her favorite stuffed unicorn. "I heard a noise," she said sleepily. "I thought maybe it was Santa." Isadora picked her up gently. "Not yet, sweetheart. Santa comes when you're fast asleep." "Can I have some water first?" While Isadora got Saren a drink, Julian fixed the unicorn. It was missing one eye and looked very loved. "You know," Julian told Saren, "I think Sparkle here might get a friend tomorrow." "Really?" Saren's eyes got big. "I have a feeling," Julian said with a wink. After Isadora took Saren back to bed, she came back to find Julian putting dishes in the dishwasher. "You don't have to do that," she said. "I know, but I want to help," Julian said. Isadora leaned on the counter, touching her new necklace. "It's strange, isn't it? A year ago, I never thought I would have a Christmas like this." "Too strange?" Julian asked, closing the dishwasher. "No, unexpected, but right," she said. She looked at him. "Thank you for being patient with me." "With us," Julian said. The next morning was full of happy children tearing wrapping paper and squealing with joy. Saren got a new unicorn. This one had a silver horn and rainbow mane that matched her old one perfectly. Lyra got the puzzle set she wanted, and Jackson was very happy with his paleontologist kit. It had tools and a lab coat with his name on it. Isadora's mother came right at noon. She was small, looked like Isadora but with gray hair, and was a little serious. She hugged the children warmly, gave Isadora a casserole, and looked at Julian. "So," she said, looking him over, "you're the father." "Mom," Isadora warned her. "It's okay," Julian said. "Yes, I'm Julian Cross. It's nice to meet you." Marin looked at him a bit longer, then said, Call me Marin. We'll see if it's nice. Isadora whispered, Mom. Julian smiled. I know I have 5 years to catch up. I will do my best. Marin seemed a little surprised, but nodded. Isadora says you bought them this house. I bought a home for my children, Julian said carefully. A place where they can play and grow, and where Isadora can be close to work. Marin nodded slowly. It's a nice house. Julian thought that was very good praise from Marin. During Christmas dinner, Julian saw Marin watching how he helped the children cut their food and how he listened to their stories. He and Isadora moved around each other easily. By dessert, Marin's face was softer. After the kids went to play, Marin joined Julian on the back porch. Isadora says you are a good father, she said. I try, Julian said. She also says you want more than just co-parenting, Marin said, looking at him. Julian chose his words. I care a lot for your daughter. I have from the start, but right now, our priority is to give the children a safe and happy home. Marin nodded. Good answer, but not quite what I asked. Julian smiled. He could see where Isadora got her honest way of speaking. Yes, I hope someday Isadora and I will build something more, but only when she is ready and when we both know it is right. Marin was quiet for a moment. She looked out at the small backyard where the children had hung bird feeders from the trees. She was all alone when she found out she was going to have babies. She was scared. 3 babies and no daddy to help, but she never gave up. She is the strongest person I have ever met, Julian said honestly. Yes, she is, Marin said, turning to him. Don't you hurt her or those children. I won't, Julian promised. They are my whole world now. Marin looked at him for a long time and then patted his arm. I am going to make sure you keep that promise, Mr. Billionaire. Now come inside before you get too cold. Isadora made her special hot chocolate. As they walked back into the warm house, Julian felt like he had passed an important test. From the kitchen, he heard Isadora laughing at something one of the children said. The happy sound was bright and clear in the holiday air. Julian thought, this is what coming home feels like. The children's 6th birthday was on a perfect spring day in April. Julian spent weeks planning with Isadora because they wanted the day to be very special. They rented a small petting zoo for the backyard, hired a face painter, and ordered a 3-layer cake. Each layer had a different theme. Dinosaurs for Jackson, unicorns for Saren, and stars for Lyrae. Julian came early to help set up. He carried the last decorations from his car. In the past few months, Julian and Isadora had started to feel closer. They shared longer looks, and their hands touched for a moment when they passed dishes at dinner. They talked late at night after the children were in bed. Sometimes their talks lasted until midnight because neither wanted the night to end. But they kept the rules Isadora asked for. Just friends and co-parents. Nothing more. Not yet. The bounce house people just called, Isadora said as she came outside to help him. They are about 30 minutes late. No problem, Julian said. The kids won't wake up from their nap for another hour anyway. Julian took balloons out of his car. Did the cake get here? Yes, it's perfect. Wait until you see it. They worked well together, hanging streamers, setting tables, and putting out party favors. Julian invited some of his workers who had children about the same age as the triplets. Isadora invited neighbors, friends from school, and family. Can I ask you something? Isadora said as they finished putting out the gift bags. Of course. Do you ever regret finding us, taking on all this responsibility? Julian looked at her, surprised. Not even once. Why would I? Isadora shrugged and didn't look at him. You had a different life before. Freedom. No school pickups or chicken pox or birthday parties to plan. Isadora, Julian said gently, turning her to face him, my life before was empty. Yes, I had success, money, and power. But every night I came home to an empty big house. I had no one to share it with. You could have found someone, started a family the usual way. Julian shook his head. I didn't want that. I didn't want anyone. Until Boston. Until you. Isadora's eyes opened wide when he said that. After our night together, he said, I thought about you all the time. I even tried to find you, but I didn't know your name or where you lived. I drove my assistant crazy, asking her to check hotel records and flight lists. I wanted a clue. You did? Yes. And when I saw you in the park that night, it felt like the universe was giving me a second chance. He took her hand carefully. Not just to be a dad, but to find you again. Isadora looked down at their hands. I thought about you too, she said softly, especially when I found out I was pregnant. I kept wondering if the babies would have your eyes. She smiled. They do, of course. Julian wanted to pull her close and finally cross the invisible line between them, but before he could move, the doorbell rang. That'll be Marin, Isadora said, stepping back. She's bringing extra tables. The moment passed, but Julian felt something had changed between them, a promise of more to come. The birthday party was busy, happy, and tiring. 30 children ran in the backyard, petting baby animals, bouncing in the inflatable castle, and eating cake and ice cream with big smiles. The triplets were happy to show their dad to their friends and teachers. This is my dad, Jackson told his soccer coach with pride, like Julian had always been there. He's teaching me how to play chess. Every time Julian heard a child call him dad so easily, his heart grew bigger. The children had gotten used to him with the strong love only kids can have. They accepted the new family with open hearts. By late afternoon, the party was ending and guests were leaving. Julian sat on the back steps with Isadora, watching the triplets show their grandmother their birthday presents. I think it was a success, he said, looking at the party mess. Definitely, Isadora smiled, though I'm not sure who's more tired, the kids or us. Julian laughed. I vote us. They have endless energy. Isadora leaned on him a little, her shoulder touching his. It was a small touch, but felt very important. Thank you for everything, for making their day so special. Our children deserve the best, Julian said simply. Isadora looked up at him, something new in her eyes. Our children, she said softly. The words hung between them with more meaning than just words. Julian's heart beat faster. Isadora, he began, Mom, Dad, look what Grandma gave us. Saren ran up, holding matching bracelets, one for each triplet. The moment was gone again, but Julian was not upset. He had learned patience these months. He knew the best things were worth waiting for. Later that night, after the children were asleep and tired from their big day, Isadora and Julian sat on the porch swing. A peaceful quiet was between them. They grow up so fast, Isadora said, smiling. I can't believe they're already 6. I wish I'd known them from the start, Julian said, but I'm happy for every day I have with them now. Isadora turned to him. You know, they have changed a lot since you came to live with us. They are more confident and happier. That's all you, Julian said. You started everything. I'm just helping build what you made. She smiled. We make a great team, don't we? The best, he said. Isadora took a deep breath like she was getting brave. Julian, I have been thinking a lot about what you said at Christmas, about us. His heart jumped. And I think I am ready to see what might be between us. She looked nervous, but sure. If you still want that. Julian gently took her hand. I have never stopped wanting it, not even once. It will have to be slow, she said. The children come first, always. I agree, he said. We'll take it one day at a time. Under the spring stars, with their children sleeping safely inside the house they built together, Julian leaned forward and kissed Isadora. It was the second first kiss, like going back to that night in Boston when their story began. But now it held the promise of a future together. For the first time, Julian Cross, the man who had everything money could buy, felt truly rich. 1 year later, the beach house was Julian's surprise for their first summer vacation as a real family. It was on a quiet stretch of beach with beautiful ocean views and lots of sand for the children to play on. Most of all, it gave them privacy from the news and cameras. The story had come out 3 months ago when a smart reporter saw Julian with the triplets at a playground. The headline said, "Mysterious Billionaire's Secret Triplets," and made a big news fuss. But Julian was ready. He gave a simple statement saying, "Yes, I am the father of the triplets," and asked for privacy for his family. The media attention got quieter, but they still liked their quiet time away from curious eyes. "Dad, can we go swimming now?" Jackson called from the deck where the children were eating breakfast. "After breakfast, buddy, and we need to put on sunscreen first," Julian said, pouring coffee for Isadora. Isadora still looked sleepy but happy. "They have been up since dawn," she said, taking the mug gratefully. "I found them trying to sneak out to the beach at 5:30 this morning." Julian laughed. "They are excited. It's their first real vacation." Isadora smiled, watching the children through the glass doors. "Our first vacation as a family, all of us." The past year had been full of slow, steady changes. Julian had moved into their house 6 months ago. They took their relationship one step at a time, just as they promised. The children got used to having him there all the time, like it was always meant to be. Julian looked at Isadora across the breakfast table. She was beautiful in the morning light. Her hair was loose around her shoulders, and she wore the simple engagement ring he gave her 2 weeks ago. They had not set a wedding date yet, happy to enjoy being engaged and letting the children get used to the idea that their mom and dad would marry someday. "What are you thinking about?" Isadora asked, catching his gaze. "How lucky I am. How different my life is now from 2 years ago." He reached for her hand. "How much I love you." Isadora squeezed his fingers. "I was thinking about that day in the park. How close we came to never finding each other again if you had walked a different way that day." "I believe we would have found each other somehow," Julian said. "Some things are meant to be." Isadora smiled. "Your grandmother's moon blessing, maybe? Or maybe just that what we have is too strong to leave to chance." He kissed her hand. "Either way, I am thankful every day." Their quiet moment ended when 3 excited children burst through the door. "We're done. Can we swim now, please?" Saren begged. "First the sunscreen," Isadora said. "I'll help," Julian offered. "You finish your coffee." As he helped put sunscreen on the children, answering their excited questions about waves, seashells, and building the biggest sandcastle, Julian knew his life had changed forever. He had found a family he never knew he wanted, and now he could never live without them. Thanks for watching. If you liked the story, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Check out our other videos too. See you in the next one.